Fighting games. My favorite genre. In basically every other competitive game, there's always an easy out for when you're losing. But in fighting games, there's no teammates, no RNG, basically no luck. It's up to you, your character, and some dude playing some other character. Truly the most perfect form of competition. Wait, what's that sound? No, come on, dude, it's perfect. It's perfect. Please don't do this. Please, no, come on, dude, no, come on!
Good thing I don't wake up every day as you. Holy poo, you are a disgusting human being. You got no variety whatsoever. Love yourself.
You're
Heart.
garbage.
Heart.
Spamming.
Heart.
I know where you live.
Heart.
Jesus Christ, get a job, you fat fuck.
Quit jumping. Also good job hit confirming with the super smiley face.
Fuck off.
Okay.
Love yourself.
Your character is cancer.
Okay.
Let's talk about ranked matchmaking. In basically every competitive-focused video game, the developers will add a specific mode for players to test their skills against each other in order to get some sort of prize. This is generally referred to as ranked matchmaking, in which players compete for points, visible or invisible, that can act as an MMR to sort players into evenly skilled matches for players to play against each other. Do these systems actually work? No, but at least they try to match you against evenly skilled players. And it's not like it matters to me anyway, because I'm just fucking cracked at video games. Now, because we're godless monkeys that evolved a little bit too far, and now have to deal with problems that we created for ourselves, a lot of the time people have very strong feelings attached to these numbers and shiny badges, to the point where some people have started acting really silly on the internet after losing a few of these numbers. Oh, but Gekko, doesn't that include you? Don't be silly, audience member number 576, if that even is your real number. I haven't properly touched a ranked mode in a fighting game in like 2 months now. I've basically stopped playing Strive Tower frequently enough to actually care about it, and I don't play any other fighting game enough to play ranked frequently or play without my friends. So because of this, I'm kind of like an outsider to this mode right now, and if I'm gonna be honest, I feel like I'm better off for it. But because of this outside perspective, I'm able to more clearly see a common trend between the denizens of ranked matchmaking and the things they say or do. You could say that there's different stereotypes that form between different ranked players. But we've already used that for something else, so what other word could we use? Alright, mental! Today we're going to go over the different types of people that play ranked matchmaking in fighting games. Now, this is just a little bit of fun, and if you feel called out by any of these categories in the video, it's a joke. Mostly. Anyway, let's get started with the most obvious. A knowledge check in fighting games is a situation where you test if the opponent knows a certain gimmick about your character in an attempt to break their defense. Knowledge checks are everywhere in fighting games and can be extremely simple or extremely complex. You have simple ones, like the third hit of Beerus' auto combo hitting on the other side, meaning you need to change the way you're blocking, to more complex ones, such as not being able to press buttons when Baiken does Escovari because she's +2. Knowledge checks are a very powerful piece of a player's toolkit. There's a lot of P's in that sentence. Being able to test the opponent's knowledge to see what you can and can't get away with is a vital part of any good player's offense. And being able to know when an opponent is testing your knowledge, and even knowing the answer already or figuring out a way around the check, or just noticing the check entirely and finding a counter mid-match, is a large part of defense in fighting games. Since they're so powerful, some players tend to... how do I put this? Abuse the fuck out of them? Ladies, gentlemen, and others, meet the embodiment of the knowledge check. This player has possibly a few, but more likely only one really strong knowledge check in their arsenal, and oh boy, are they absolutely going to abuse that. Anything for those sweet, sweet ranked points. Now, unlike some categories of players that we're gonna meet, the knowledge check isn't exactly toxic. They just really like winning and found the path of least resistance. They're probably not too invested in actually learning the game, they just like it when numbers go up, because they're a gamer, and if there's one thing gamers like, it's big fucking numbers. The likelihood is that you'll find this person in the lower ranks, but there's a chance that you'll find them in the mid and higher ranks if they're less moral in nature, and some of these players love winning so much that once you figure out their gimmick, they'll run for the hills and never fight you again. They're a decent learning experience as you'll figure something out about their character, and once you know the check, they're pretty funny to laugh at, but not much more than that, unfortunately. Do you guys ever watch someone do something and the only thing you can think is, what the fuck are you doing? Maybe it's the options they choose, the pressure they do, their neutral choices, honestly it's probably their neutral choices, or just their absolute disregard for the defense portion of the game, but the way that they play just makes so little sense that it fries everyone's brains once they see how they play. Trying to apply any logic to their actions can cause psychic damage that can be lethal if you overexpose yourself to it. Well, if you know someone like that, then I have bad news, because there's a chance that that person isn't actually human. There's a good chance that they're actually a bot. Now, with technology advancing as far as it has, robots can actually get really good at different activities. There's bots that are able to play chess optimally, bots that can play Mario in a way that will make 7-year-old Gecko die from hype, and bots that can sort pieces of data really good and make a very satisfying noise. But for the majority of video games, bots are... how do I put this? Just not that good at the game. Granted, you can now find bots that are absolutely cracked at video games, bots that are able to mimic real players, which is terrifying. However, most bots are generally pretty stupid in order to make sure that the players don't have too much of a hard time dealing with them while playing single-player modes. Because of this, bots tend to do things that don't make logical sense. Like, somewhere in their code must be a function called do something, where if a certain amount of time has passed, the code just goes, fuck it, Tatsu. Now, AI is much more complex than this. I would know, I'm in debt from it. But some players just have this uncanny nature to just mimic the way that bots think and act to a degree where I'm worried someone will flip a switch and they'll turn into a T-1000 and remove me from the planet because I blocked all of their bullshit. Now, the real reason they play like this is because it gets them wins. They themselves probably aren't actually thinking too much, and if you don't know what you're going to do, how the fuck is your opponent gonna know? But this tends to run out once players start using safer options to cover all of their weird shit that they're doing, or just give them enough space to fuck it up themselves. They are a good enough rank though, and if you get a high enough rank, some YouTubers might start drama about your random Tatsu in neutral. The option select. What a strategy. You set up a situation which covers all possible outcomes in order to minimize the risk of failure and maximize the reward you get off of it. Truly one of the strongest moves in any player's arsenals. But what if, and hear me out here, we take the concept of the option select and apply it to outside of the game? Yeah, you're following me. Okay, cool. So here's a list of war crimes I need you to go through because you seem like a morally corrupt enough person. We've talked about an out-of-game option select before in the low tiers video, but there's actually multiple forms of out-of-game option selects that this person will absolutely use to protect their ego at all costs. Let's say, hypothetically, the OS abuser loses. Crazy concept, I know. Well, fun fact, they didn't actually lose because the sun was in their eyes. Let's ignore the fact that it's currently midnight and they're playing in a room with no lighting apart from their RGB coming from their gamer PC, gamer mouse, and gamer foot massager. They couldn't afford an RGB keyboard, that shit is expensive. The sun was definitely in their eyes. But let's say that you decide to call them out on that bullshit. Don't worry, because that's only layer 1. The connection was so laggy, will probably be their next response. To which, if you're a good Samaritan, you should be able to show that you are connected via Ethernet cable with good enough internet. Well, then your system is laggy and it messed with the connection. I spent £2,000 on this PC, it ain't lagging. Your character's broken. Yeah, that character's secretly top 5, bro, I'm telling you. And now you've fallen into their trap. Congratulations! These people will always find ways for their losses to not be their fault and have nothing to do with skill. It will simply be a matter of character balance or some outside factor. Anything that distracts from the fact that they may have not played as well as they were hoping and have some things they need to improve on. I should probably actually make a distinction, because there's people that do this a lot, but there's generally two different types to it. There's letting your rage out for a few seconds by saying your opponent is free or carried or blah 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 blah, you know, the general bullshit. And then accepting your loss and figuring out how to improve. Then there's genuinely believing the shit that comes out of your mouth. The first one really isn't optimal, but, you know, it's fine. That's how you deal with tilt. I get it. Just, you know, don't say it to the actual other person. But if you're the second one, I really need you to take a deep breath and look at your matches to see why you're losing. Losing's okay. You gotta learn to accept it. Because if you don't, there's a good chance you'll turn into this guy. The scrub is the worst pieces of every other mentality combined, while throwing away anything that could be seen as a redeeming quality. They rely entirely on gimmicks for their character. They play without thinking, but they think they're amazing at the game and will use every trick in the book to deflect their losses and not acknowledge that they may be losing because there's a bit of a skill issue going on. What makes them different, though, is that when they lose, they don't do any of the first few steps of the option select. They go straight to the balance, and they even go straight to you as a person. They'll skip all the fluffy leg, sun in my eyes stuff and instantly go for the person controlling the other character. They will call you things that I can't say on this channel without getting demonetized in order to make themselves feel better. They leave instantly after every loss, gloat after every win no matter what the win was like, and they cannot accept losing to somebody they've beaten. Their opinion isn't law, it's gospel. And anyone who says anything against it is blasphemous. Improvement? What's that? I'm already the best. Everyone else just plays dumb, broken characters with no honor or skill. I could beat Daigo, but he uses a cheat box with a top tier. But, you know, if he played properly, I wouldn't even be close. This is the lowest of the low when it comes to ranked players. And let's be honest, you probably know somebody like this. Someone who just oozes negativity to the point where being around them, it kind of makes you feel like shit. Want to know the worst bit? You're not immune to this mentality. It could happen to you, and you need to be careful because it's so easy to fall into this mentality if you're not catching yourself on it. These are the kind of people who make ranked games the worst thing to go through in the world and give it a bad rap. Is it their fault? Kinda, but also no, because, you know, monkey brains. But I do have good news. There is a cure. It takes a lot of work and it's not easy, but there is a way out. I don't know if the scrubs are gonna like it, though. Finding somebody like this in the wilderness of ranked matchmaking is as rare as finding a goose that lays golden eggs. Naturally, I don't even think these players actually exist, because keeping this mentality when there's things on the line is hard. Like, really hard. I couldn't do it when I used to play ranked all the time, so if you find somebody like this, you might as well have bought a lottery ticket. But if you do find someone who's genuinely just looking to improve, then you found the best kind of player to play in ranked. People who just want to improve basically do the opposite of every other mental that we've listed. They'll have gimmicks and knowledge checks, sure, but they won't overly rely on them, focusing more on the fundamentals of the game. They'll try and adapt their strategies in order to see what works. They'll probably experiment with stuff mid-match just to see what happens. They might even hit you up after the match to ask if you want to play some casuals if the game was fun enough. I've had that happen to me before, though it might be due to other reasons. If you find somebody like this, cherish them, because they're the kind of people that make playing these games good experiences. Once you take away the fear of losing your points and actually focus on, you know, getting better, ranked suddenly doesn't become too bad. But there's better ways to improve than just bashing your head against the rank wall. For example, you could get a training partner, you could join a community Discord, you could join tournaments and ask people you played for casual sets a day or two later. Just go to the non-ranked matchmaking mode and get beat up a little bit. The sky's the limit. You don't have to play ranked to get better. Ranked should be one of the few things you bounce between in order to improve at these games, which is what makes these players so rare, because when you really want to improve, you drop the scrub mentality and you go fight some actual good players. Ranked can be fun, but most of the time it leads to a lot of toxicity. I'm not gonna lie, having a high rank in a video game does feel nice, especially when there's rewards that come with it, but if you want to improve, you need to cut the bullshit and start fighting stronger players to figure out what you're doing wrong. And if you play nothing but ranked, I urge you to go find some matches somewhere else in order to try and improve. You might surprise yourself with how well you do. Thanks for watching. If you like this kind of content, please go sub to my Patreon. It's only £1 a month, and you'll get info on the videos that are coming up for the rest of the month, along with some early clips of my longer stuff. I also stream on Twitch. I'm currently participating in September, and I sure do have some interesting rewards. There's a video of me drinking pilk already if you want to go see that. I'll be playing a horror game on stream when this video comes out, so if you want to go jump scare me, say hi in the chat. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Special thank you to Seth Corey, Edison Luttery, Rabbit Mask, Tom Tanks, Daniel Wiedericht, Brodeki, Super, Lady Dantelin, Monax, Mystery, and Proxicon for being tier 2 patron subs.